Would restoring the gold standard bring a return of King Dollar? Well, take a listen to what Congressman Ron Paul told me right here in the Cutler Report earlier this week. Bernanke says people don't want to buy gold. They want to buy a steady basket. If the dollar were tied to gold, wouldn't the consumer price basket be steadier?
Absolutely. I mean, when they have unlimited ability to print money when they need it, it always has to go down in value.
All right. Tonight, gold as currency could be making a comeback. Just this afternoon, the Utah House took the first step, passing a bill to recognize gold and silver, there it is, silver, as legal tender. This is something we have not seen in the USA in nearly 80 years. Utah may be just the first of 13 states moving forward with similar legislation. Joining us now, live from Salt Lake City, is the bill's sponsor, Utah Republican State Representative Brad Galvez. Brad, thank you. Tell me about this. What's going to happen? Utah going back on the gold standard.
Well, it's great to be with you tonight. Yes, this bill basically outlines that gold and silver coin issued by the federal government are considered legal tender in the state of Utah. I believe that this is the first step in preparing ourselves here in Utah for what may be coming down the road. As we look at, as was just mentioned, the economy, the dollar are on the decline. And I believe that by having gold and silver coin as legal tender, this will be one of the steps that will allow Utah to kind of stay strong and to be able to keep from that falling dollar. We heard recently, Forbes said that Utah is one of the best managed states in the union, and I believe that this bill will enable us to continue that trend for a number of years.
All right, so Utah wants to have its own monetary policy, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, it's probably a very constitutional thing to do. Here's my question, Brad. You're going to restore the dollar, silver dollar and gold as legal tender, all right? You're not going to allow capital gains tax because the stuff will probably appreciate in value, so that's good. Let me ask you this. Is this spreading among the other Western states? Let's talk with the Western states. Is this new gold monetary policy spreading?
You know what? I believe that it is. Colorado actually, since about 1893, has had this same language and code. In other words, Colorado back in 1893 put in their code that gold and silver coin is legal tender in their state. I know last year Idaho ran a bill as well. It went through the House, did not make it through the Senate. There are other states in the surrounding area. There's actually states back east as well that have been looking at this. Montana's looking at it. So I do believe that it's not only in the West, but I think you're seeing it throughout the nation.
Well, just quickly, can you get this through your state Senate? Would the governor sign it? Because if that happened, you would force, I think, this to happen all over the country. They would have to. Otherwise, all the money would go to Utah.
Well, we're sure optimistic about it, and that would be the plan. As Lice says, we feel like this really will be a great boon for Utah if we can get it through. We're optimistic about our prospects. I know we've talked to a number of senators, and there's a number of senators that are on board. And I feel like there's a good chance that this will move forward.
I mean, actually, good money will drive out bad money. It's the reverse of Gresham's law. People will just flock to Utah, where you can have this gold and silver coins. I'll put my silver coin back up on the screen as legal tender. Now, Brad, are you getting complaints from the local citizenry, from the local folks, from the business people, that they're sick and tired of owning dollars whose value keeps going down? Is that the genesis of this? Is this a grassroots revolt?
We haven't heard a lot from necessarily from a lot of the businesses and people, but yes, I think it's a grassroots thing. There's been a lot of people that are concerned about what's happening with the economy and concerned about the decline of the dollar, and so they're saying we need a way to be able to plan for the future and be prepared and provide some stability, some security for the future. So I think this is, yes, definitely a grassroots movement, and I think it will continue to roll forth not only in Utah, but throughout the nation.
All right, Utah legislator Brad Galvez in Salt Lake talking about legal tender, gold and silver. What a revolution that would be. Next up on the Cutler Report, maybe if our politicians saw the amount of gold it would take to close the budget gap, they'd stop spending so much. Nothing seems to stop them. So I'm going to send out the Kudlow Truth Squad to show you why maybe it's not such a bad thing for the government to shut down altogether and put a little pressure on these politicians. Then later on, House Speaker John